Yes, finally, I don't have to review a Rogue One trailer. I can just review the movie. After all my Star Wars reviews and rankings leading up to this moment, let's get to it. And Darth Vader, I hope you're not wasted in this movie. Just saying. Rogue One, a Star Wars story directed by Gareth Edwards, and tells the story set in a timeline in between episode 3 and 4 when the Jedi have been wiped out, the galaxy has turned to shit, it's on the brink of darkness, the Empire now rules with an iron fist. However, they have recruited Jyn Erso, the father of our protagonist Jyn Erso, to help build the Death Star, a weapon that can help them destroy entire planets and crush the rebellion once and for all. So it's up to Jyn, the Rebel Alliance, to find the Death Star plans and get them to the hands of Princess Leia, as we see at the beginning of A New Hope. So yeah, this movie is basically the first few paragraphs of the opening crawl of A New Hope, and so how they could actually make a movie out of it, I never thought they'd be able to, but they've done it. So Rogue One for many people is by far the most anticipated movie of 2016. I have seen countless epic trailers for this film, as well as seen countless trailer reviews, as well as done many myself, as Disney have brought Star Wars back on the map. Force Awakens last year was outstanding. I loved it. It's my favourite Star Wars movie so far. So could they strike twice with Rogue One? Could they give us the prequel that we never thought we wanted, but now we're getting it? So we can't fucking wait. So how is Rogue One? You're all anticipating and ready to like or dislike this video and give me a comment saying on whether you approve or disapprove of this review. Well, I accept one does not review this film lightly, but what do I think? I really liked it. It is really good. It is a worthy prequel to A New Hope and a new kind of Star Wars movie, which isn't a bad thing at all. But don't get ahead of yourselves, guys. I didn't say it was perfect, but it's really good. But I will keep this review completely spoiler-free. I will do a spoiler talk tomorrow to discuss my further thoughts on the film. But for now, you don't have to worry about any spoilers. So Gareth Edwards really surprised me with his direction here. I wasn't a fan of the news when I heard Gareth Edwards would be directing it, because I wasn't so keen on his Godzilla remake. It was okay, but not great. But this movie made up for that. So if he can prove himself to make more movies like this, he could become a great director in Hollywood. The one thing that a great Star Wars film has to have is great characters. We all love Luke, C-3PO, R2, Leia, Han, Chewbacca, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Darth Vader, and so on. So how are the characters here? Well, the characters here for me, although a mixed bag, I overall liked. I enjoyed them more than I didn't. Felicity Jones gives a decent performance as Jyn Erso, and she has one of the best backstories of all of the characters, how her family and her father, Jyn Erso, was the one who was forced by the Empire to build the Death Star, and she has to deal with that guilt, and now she's been recruited by the rebellion. She has a chance to get the Death Star plans, destroy that weapon, defeat the Empire, and make things right. And avenge her father too, which I'll talk about in the spoiler review. But the Erso family will be remembered in Star Wars for a long time, as they are the reason the Death Star exists, and they are also the reason it gets destroyed. K2SO for me is the best character in the movie by far. He is freaking badass. I have him here. Finally, we can have a more mature droid as opposed to droids for comic relief. As much as I love 3PO, R2 and BB-8, I appreciate a more mature, badass droid. He is a great addition to the movie, and it was great seeing that lady from the rebellion. she was from the deleted scenes of Revenge of the Sith when Padme was forming the rebellion, so it was great to see her reprise her role. She looked exactly like the actress from Return of the Jedi. However, the other members of the rebellion, while they were great fighters, they were cool, especially the samurai guy who was blind and used the Force to just lay waste to all the stormtroopers in one action scene. That was great. But other than that, the other rebels are just so underdeveloped and boring. I mean, we barely know anything about them. And yes, Darth Vader is in this movie, and whenever he appears, those are the best scenes in the film. I am not kidding, guys. I think every Star Wars fan at every screen when Darth Vader comes on screen will erupt out their seats and applaud, because Darth Vader, Star Wars' most popular character, is in Rogue One. That's the main reason people are going to get their butts in those seats. And James Earl Jones, it was a miracle hearing him again, and he has one just awesome scene that's well worth the price of admission. But so the main antagonist here, Grand Moff Tarkin, I think his name is, played by Ben Mendelsohn. He was good. He was a decent villain. Nothing amazing, but I love his determination. How he was determined to just crush the Rebel Alliance no matter what, and prove that the Death Star was his weapon. The Death Star itself was a character, how it could just block out an entire sun and just blast entire cities. It felt like a force to be reckoned with. In fact, the entire Empire in this film felt nearly unstoppable and a real threat throughout. I'm glad Gareth Edwards just nailed the dark, mature tone of this film and made it really feel like a war film, because none of the episodic films really did feel like war films, despite having battles in them and called Star Wars. This film appropriately is mature and a story about sacrifice, because, well, Star Wars, people who say it's just a kids movie, I'm sorry guys, but it's not a kid's story. It's such a mature, complex, emotionally powerful story about love, sacrifice, and betrayal. And this movie beautifully captures the feel of war. Which brings me to the action. The action here is magnificent, is amazing, particularly towards the end. The final battle of this movie is just mind-blowingly epic, as well as emotional and intense as hell. It is one of the best battle scenes in Star Wars, period. I am not kidding. It's close to being as good as the Battle of Hoth from Empire Strikes Back. It felt kind of more like Saving Private Ryan than Star Wars. While this movie's not as good as Saving Private Ryan, it feels that way. And the ending is so just perfect. It will leave you shouting Eureka, and Star Wars fans are absolutely gonna love it, and leave the cinema saying, I'm glad I saw that, because the ending beautifully ties into A New Hope without giving anything away. It's something happens that you don't expect. Yeah, there are many moments in this film that are unpredictable and you really don't see coming, which is what I love. That's a great writing. But glad as everybody's loving this film as they are and raving about it. I did say I didn't think it was perfect. And I've heard people say they like it even better than Force Awakens. I'm sorry guys, I disagree. I like Force Awakens better. Don't hurt me, I'm sorry. Firstly, this film came out just a year, literally, after one of the episodic films. They could have made this film years ago. I mean, at the time of the prequel trilogy, they could have made this film immediately after Revenge of the Sith, but they chose to make it now for some reason. I mean, that's really confusing, to go from the episodic films to then immediately jump to a spin-off film that takes place years before that. Non-Star Wars fans will be confused as hell. Even my mum thought Rogue One at first was Episode 8. So that was one of the reasons I was skeptical going into this film. I was like, is this movie really needed? Come on, just give us episode 8 already. That's the one I'm really looking excited for. But anyway, I did say the members of the rebellion were painfully underdeveloped, and especially Forrest Whitaker's character. Who plays a character from the Clone Wars era. But he literally did nothing in the film. He was completely pointless. You could have taken him out and it wouldn't have made a difference. And while the pacing for the most part was great, and especially in the third act, the pacing in the first act was a little slow. It did really take its time to get going and introduce us to the characters. I mean, it could have picked up the pace a little more. Like, just remember how great the pacing in Force Awakens was. That film never dragged, and this film did drag in the beginning. And remember when I said Darth Vader's scenes were awesome? Well, they are, but Darth Vader gets 10 minutes of screen time in the entire film and only 2 scenes. I am not kidding, guys. They hype Darth Vader so much. He's so big in the main poster. They showed... I'm glad they kept his scenes few and far between in the trailers, because I was hoping they were going to show most of his scenes in the movie to keep the surprise, and then when you saw the movie, he's barely in it. When they had to reshoot the movie, it's obvious they just reshot it just to include him in 2 scenes. That's how little he is in this film. Originally, he wasn't even going to be in the film at all. Are you fucking kidding me, Gareth Edwards? I know everybody will defend this. I have heard people say, oh, I don't care that Darth Vader's not in the film much. It's not his movie. It should be about these new characters. Well, I'm sorry, guys. I respectively disagree. These new characters aren't nearly as good. They're not as timeless as Darth Vader. They are not strong enough to carry this film. We could have learnt so much about Darth Vader in this film that we never learnt in the prequels nor the originals. It just felt like a wasted opportunity. Darth Vader should have been the one to lead the Empire into battle at the end and taken on Jyn Erso. That would have been so fucking cool. But nope. And director Krennic, like I said, he's a good villain, but he isn't Darth Vader. He should not have been the main antagonist. Not to mention, there isn't even an opening crawler for this film. I'm like, you can't have a Star Wars film without an opening crawl. That's disgraceful. And the music, while they chose a good replacement for John Williams, it just isn't quite John Williams. I won't be remembering this soundtrack as I will all the John Williams' score. But guys, I do not hate Rogue One, far from it. I liked it. It is a really enjoyable film and a good and I'm prequel to A New Hope. I even, as a prequel, liked it more than The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, despite defending those two. But I'm sorry, I just don't see why everybody absolutely loves it and calls it the best Star Wars film ever. I really do think it's slightly overrated, and people are they're just in denial when they're calling it perfect. They're just not admitting it. As good as it is, it does have some problems. I mean, Revenge of the Sith is still my favourite prequel, and The Force Awakens is still my favourite Star Wars movie. I'm sorry, guys. You're gonna all hate me for this, but I think Force Awakens is a better film, and I don't think it's a remake of A New Hope, despite what everybody says. But even if it's not my favourite prequel or Star Wars movie, and I'm still way more excited for Episode 8 and 9, I still enjoyed Rogue One. It was a fun time. Star Wars fans are gonna love it and really have fun with this this December. It is a great Christmas present, and I will be seeing again, and I hope you guys love it. I give Rogue One 3.5 stars out of 5. Well, I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and stay tuned for my spoiler talk on Rogue One, which will be up tomorrow. And what do you think of Rogue One? Comment, let me know. Please like this video and subscribe if you follow on Twitter and on Google+, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.